What's going on, guys? I am Benji B, and welcome to my channel. I appreciate you stopping by, and this is going to be the first video of what I hope to be a lot of videos on chronic kidney disease and life with kidney disease and raising awareness about kidney disease and organ donation, and also raising money for the NKF. So yeah, if you have never been to my channel before, you're probably wondering what's up with all the video game stuff. I stream on Twitch weeknights, from 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. PST, and that is on twitch.tv/BenjiB. So the goal with all that was to raise awareness for organ donation and what it's like, and I guess kidney disease. So here I am making a YouTube video as well on the same thing. So I wanted to start today with, basically an introduction video. And I thought, what better way to start it off with the blog post from the NKF itself on talking to your friends about your kidney disease. So I know living with kidney disease it's not easy, but it also allows you to really have an impact on people's lives, like for the better, in my opinion. We have in my opinion, we have a duty to raise an awareness about what's going on with us, right? I mean, so here we are. Here I am making a video about it. The first bullet point is very interesting, and it is whom do I tell? For me, I didn't tell many people in high school, and just to kind of back it up a little bit, in high school, that's kind of when everything, as far as getting my transplant, being on dialysis, and having my kidneys removed, and all this stuff really kind of took off. So I didn't tell many people about it. I was more private about it than I think probably I wish I had been, and that's why I'm making these videos. But I told my best friend first. I remember that I got an invitation to go speak at an event, just very briefly, and I told my friend, hey, I got this cool invitation to this event, and check it out. And then he goes, well, how'd you get that? And then I said, well, I have chronic kidney disease. And he goes, what's that? And I said, basically, I'm something's wrong with my kidneys, and I'll need a transplant, or be on dialysis and then get a transplant. It wasn't any huge, sit down coffee talk about how serious it is, or the implications, or whatever you may call them, about having kidney disease. And that's kind of how I've lived my life a little bit, which has always been not a big deal. So I told him first, and then once I had the catheter in my chest for dialysis, I told a few other people. That's because they're like, what is that thing in your chest? I mean, that's kind of hard to ignore. But, I didn't tell a whole bunch of people, and I kind of wish I did, 2020 hindsight. Maybe I would have gotten a kidney sooner, or maybe things would have worked out differently. I don't know. But that's who I told. And I know everyone's different, and everyone's going to tell somebody that they're obviously close with first, like family or friends or whatever. And then I didn't tell anybody when I got a job the first time, and I only told them after I got the job. And you can take that up with HR, or once you're hired, whatever. But that's kind of how I did it. So it's never been something that is this huge conversation. It's more or less matter of fact. And then the next thing is, how do I bring it up? And like I mentioned earlier, for the first portion, when I was a senior in high school, walking around with a catheter to my chest, the inevitable happens where somebody goes, what is that? And you go, oh, all right, I guess I have to tell somebody about this. And so that's how it was brought up in that instance. But with other people, I never broached the subject first. It's always been so tertiary to my existence that I kind of didn't tell people about it. One, because I was younger and more private, but two, I just never did. And I wish I had brought it up with certain people earlier. I definitely have brought it up now, like in relationships very early on, just so they know like what's going on. With new friendships, not as much, only if they start growing and progressing. When I was in college, I brought it up with certain professors just to make sure that they knew, what's going on. And then I think when I was in high school, my parents had brought it up with the administration in school so that no one was on like the wrong foot as far as like when I had to leave for dialysis early, or like if I had to just leave from school at all, which ended up happening. But I'm pretty sure that's how that went with that whole high school kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, I don't really bring it up unless it's brought up to me. And if you bring it up, cool, but I mean, like, I'm making a video right now about it, so like it's pretty much out there now. And I think that's a cool thing, because I think more people should hear about it. The next thing that they have is, how much should I share? I never shared more than what I was comfortable with, and I think that's probably a pretty good general thing, right? I never shared about like the blood being filtered on dialysis, or I never shared about all the pills I take and all the pokes and prods from blood work and stuff like that. It was very much a general like, oh, I have kidney disease. Some people like that, but like now being older, I've got friends who are in med school or who are doctors now, and they're like, oh, well, tell me more about that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. And it's nice sometimes because they can kind of progress the conversation further. Even if they're not like nephrologists, they obviously have some understanding of that stuff. So, it's nice sometimes. But like, yeah, I don't really overshare at all. I think it's kind of like, who really wants to know about that stuff? And then the last bullet point here is, will I be treated differently after they know I have kidney disease? And the big answer for me is, if they're your friends treating you differently, they're probably not your friends. If they're your colleagues treating you differently, maybe examine those relationships. But I mean, for the most part, and knocking on wood if you can, I've never been treated differently. I've never been treated any differently. I've never been been referred to as like a bubble boy, or being delicate or anything like that. I mean, I've always been pretty one of the dudes, I guess. I mean, it's never been like a huge I don't want to say issue, but it's never been a huge defining factor about being different, about having kidney disease. It's just like, I have kidney disease and that's it. I think though, other parts of the article, or of the blog post, I guess, they touch on being in school, like being in high school and stuff, and having kidney disease. And I think that the biggest challenge for me in that aspect, about telling my friends and about doing all those social things in high school and in college somewhat, it was always about the changes, the physical changes, and also sometimes the mental changes too, because I remember that in high school I was way skinny. I was just like a skinny kid, and now I filled out. I mean, because over time, right, people change. I didn't have the same color to my skin. I was more gray, I guess. And I had a thing. I had the catheter sticking out my chest, right? And so being in school and then having to deal with those changes and having to really focus on what I wanted to share, it got hard. But that was because of being in high school. High school's tough for a lot of kids, and that was having a catheter in my chest, and how do you avoid that? I mean, or not avoid it, and so those are the things that I had to really go through. And so those are the things I kind of like, I don't take on, but I do worry about for certain kids who are going through what I did at the same age, which is like not a great age to go through anything life-changing. It's like a day at a time, right? I mean, so that's one of the things in the article that I think should be noted, right? So like you can work with your administration in your school, you can work with your professors if you're in college, you can work with your HR and boss or whatever if you're in work, but I don't really think that you have as much, leeway or at least the support systems that you might need in high school as you do, being an adult in college or an adult in a workplace or in a work setting. This is not a teen focused, channel by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know that it was a little harder. But I do remember saying to myself that it's just one day at a time and one thing at a time, right? So, those are that's something to kind of keep in mind. And then lastly, the last kind of point of the article was, don't let it define you. And it never will define me. It'll always be a part of me, but it's never going to define me. That's just something that I've always felt, and I've always believed very deeply in myself, that I am pretty much the normal dude hanging out, who likes to go to baseball games, who likes to have a beer, who likes to watch, basketball on TV, who has a career, who has a relationship, who has, who plays video games and who has a cause, right? I mean, like, all those things are just, they make up who I am. But not once has having kidney disease ever defined me. I've never been like, no, that's my identity. I mean, like, cool if that is, but like, honestly, like, there's so much more to life than hanging on to having kidney disease as your identity, right? I mean, like, what fun is that? Like, you're just gonna be like a kidney dude. I'm here in this channel to raise awareness about it, to talk to the younger audience about it, because like, I don't have that. I know I've never had that experience with somebody my age with a kidney transplant. I've had a few, acquaintances, but I mean, they're a little older than me. So, that's the goal with this whole thing, is like, let's make it young again, right? And so just to kind of wrap things up, I appreciate you guys for coming here. I know it's not gaming related, and that's primarily what I'm doing, but to me, video games are such a great equalizer that I thought, well, I can just throw these videos in there, and I can help somebody who needs to hear something, a little more positive, right? If they're going through something that I did. So that's the goal. Raise awareness for kidney disease, raise awareness for organ donation, raise awareness for the NKF and the AKF. Got my AKF bracelet here. And just have fun with it, like that's literally why I started playing video games, right? And that's what I wanted to do with this whole thing, right? So I'm passionate enough about it. I want to change someone's perspective on it. I want to change, the conversation about it. I think that, there's a lot of younger folks that need a place to go, and someone to either talk to or just listen to, that have been through a lot of the similar things that they're going through right now, and tell them that you'll be fine. And that's why I'm here. So anyways, I am done with this video. You can catch me streaming every weekday from Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. through 10:30 p.m. Pacific time. Remember, that's twitch.tv/BenjiB. It rhymes, super convenient. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for checking me out, and I'll be sure to do more of these. And we're going to be covering topics on, mental health, on physical health, on, staying on top of your medication, on, some of the challenges of being on medication that really alters your body, and going through school with it, and a whole host of other things. I mean, like, I know obviously follow your doctor's orders and stuff like that, but it's I'm excited. So